Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Moment of harmony with Professor Euripides Barsanulfo. Messages that he wrote through mediums such as Chico Xavier and Corina Novellino. Today, we're going to be studying one of his messages that is very, very fitting for the current times on the earth. And for a long time, it still be very, very important for us. From this book, Euripides, O Espírito e o Compromisso. Let's not forget that Euripides Barsanulfo was an educator. He also was a pharmacist. He was a spiritist medium. He opened the first spiritist school on the earth in the city of Sacramento, in the state of Minas Gerais, in Brazil. He discarnated, he was born in 1880 and discarnated in 1918. Exactly. So he was very much a pioneer in spiritism, a pioneer in education. The education that was proposed by him is yet to be understood on the earth. Though his school still exists and has more than 100 years, and his school is leading a legacy, changing and transforming lives. The lives of the children, the lives of the family, and hopefully ours too. Euripides Barsanulfo comes tonight to tell us about a message that is quite unique. For those who are not acquainted, Corina Novellino used to work with him, and I'm saying this because we're going to need that reference to understand the message tonight. She used to work with him, and to show you a picture if you don't know her, this is her. She used to work with him, and she used to be good friends with Chico Xavier. Emmanuel, through Chico Xavier, prefaced some of the books that she mediumistically wrote, some of them that were directed to children, and she actually was the one that also kept the legacy, together with a group of people, of his educational efforts as well. The Spiritist Center, Hope and Charity, is still there to date, helping people. It's unbelievable. And nowadays, of course, the great-great-niece, Alzira Bessa França Mui, and the family, they continue the beautiful works. And if you ask, but Vanessa, how come we don't know much about this? Friends, because when you, depending on the type of work that you do, you don't have time to announce. There's only time to doing, right? So each person works in their field, and their field is foundational. Is to work with the children each and every day, to keep on working with the hundreds of families that are being educated in that school, and the Spiritist Center. So there is no time to stop and tell the world about it. Though they give courses twice a year to the general public, and you can get acquainted by it as well by talking to them. So she was a faithful interpreter and follower of the teachings that were brought by him. Tonight, he's gonna tell us the following. Shall we feel it? My brothers and sisters, he says, peace to your fraternal heart, with the heart touched by the sublime feeling of gratitude. I speak to your understanding with the old joys of the old companion. We understand well the valiant scruple of well-intentioned spirits who place duty above the immediate values of life. Let your hearts be comforted by the humble workers of the Christ, to the earthly demonstrations, even though the sacred purpose of the family inspires adjustments, suggestions of sacrifice, and renunciation. The service with the Christ is still the highest imposition of the incarnated spirits today. Therefore, let us seek the harmony between the eternal expressions and, under the gaze of the Master, and the duties that the transitory passage demand in the world, let us seek understanding of one another. Do not forget, particularly, that the difficulties of every hour are flowers that will perfume your redemptive pathway. We will be by your side in permanent help, so that we can fulfill the sacred duties announced before the Father in the course of the development of the redemptive struggles. May the common good continue to be the greatest suggestion of the sentiments of fraternity that exist in your spirit, and may renewal be the greatest concern of your heart. May spiritual renewal be the greatest concern of your heart. May Jesus always protect us. Professor Euripides on May 19th, 1955. Teresa Castro is asking us, did you say she psychographed from Emmanuel too? No, what happens is that Corina Novellino, she was a medium, and Chico Xavier psychographed messages from Emmanuel that prefaced the books that she was mediumistically writing. Okay? So she, as a medium, received information that became a book, and subjecting it to the analysis of Chico Xavier, Emmanuel came and wrote the preface of her books as well. So Corina Novellino is a very much respected Spiritist medium in the Spiritist movement in Brazil. She worked and learned directly from Euripides Barsanulfo when he was incarnated. In this message, we can extrapolate elements that will help us harmonize ourselves. If we are asking, why do I need to harmonize ourselves? We probably wouldn't be here tonight together, right? We know we need it. Because, let's go back one step. You're welcome. Thank you for the question, Teresa. Friends, let's recall how it works. What happens to everything we feel, we say, we do, and we think in our lives? Things that we do, say, feel, think. They stay stored in our spiritual body. They're stored right there. What does that mean? It means to us that we need to harmonize these elements. It's like a computer. Think of your mental body as a computer. You're working with several things. You're opening different softwares, creating files, but then you need to organize them. Some you're going to say, no, I don't need it anymore. I need to delete, recycle. There's a recycling bin. It's so beautiful because it's not real trash. Because in informatics, we learn everything is recyclable. And in everything in life, we're going to archive. We're going to transform it. And that's why we need harmony. Because there are many files that we create in our daily lives. We start using softwares in our mental body that are pernicious, that are unhealthy for us. So we need moments with this wisdom to go there. It's as if we're calling an IT to come and do the checkup, the diagnostics of the computer, and help cleanse, reorganize, make it more effective. But we're talking about files and softwares we have been using for lives. So we need to be very aware of what's going on in us. Like yesterday when we were studying the previous chapter, what Euripides Barsanulfo suggested, we needed to look at the issues inside of us and correct with love, with self-compassion. Right? I'm a precious child of God. Who isn't? But I need to bless myself. I cannot put myself down because I haven't succeeded or excelled in certain lessons or in all the lessons. We will. It takes time. And that's okay. God is not in a rush. Do you think God is in a rush? I think we are in a rush. But the more we evolve, the more patient we become. God is not in a rush. He's not like, come on, Vanessa. Come on. Come on. No, God's not working that way. Nothing in nature tells us that God is anxious, also because these are human feelings. I wouldn't say only human, it's from animal to human in different gradations, because animals also have emotions. But we're talking about the fact that God gives us time to work on it gradually. Of course, the faster we get to the end of it all, the better it is for us. But we shouldn't look at it from the perspective of achieving the goal just for the sake of it, but for what it means. What does it mean to be compliant with the laws of God? Which is actually harmony. What does it mean? To be compliant with the law of God means that we'll be in harmony because we're practicing, we're feeling love. Our actions are of love, to love, for love, with love, and thus we achieve the harmonization. Harmony is the synchronicity with God. But there is no rush. We cannot achieve anything harmonious by pushing and kicking and screaming. No, no, no. There is no such thing. We need to take it easy. How? He says it to us. He begins with kindness. These are the elements that he said previously in other chapters. Constructive elements of the mind. Remember, there is no neutrality. In life, we either vibrate constructively or we vibrate destructively. Who says it? André Luiz in the book Mecanismos da Mediunidade, not yet in English. He says that these are the only frequencies that are existent. There is no neutral position. And it's up to us to decide to stay in constructiveness or destructiveness. I know, we vote for constructiveness, right? Yes, I do. But as Euripides Barsanulfo says, we often say I do want to be constructive, but then when I take action, is the old softwares, the old conditionings, opening the old files. And then what happens? We go to the other direction. So we need to observe the practicality of it all, making choices. That's why free will, right? Free will, it means the power lies in our will, in our choice. How often were you taught that you have choices? Since childhood, we're taught to obey, which is good. When do we actually learn to make choices? Good question, huh? Good question. It depends. Culturally speaking, Some cultures don't give room to choices. And that's when people don't know that they can choose. What can I choose? I can choose what I think. And I can choose what I do with my emotions. If they pop up instinctively, I can give them direction and say anger. Let's say anger popped up because it's physiological. Okay, anger, what am I going to do with you? I agree. So do you talk to your emotions? It's a true exercise. Talk to the emotions. Pain, for example. I can hear you, yes. Talk to that pain. Talk to that anger. What is it? Oh, but I'm upset. I see you and I agree with you. But look, what's the purpose of being in that way? Are you gonna solve anything? No, I'm gonna show it to people. But really? You think people are gonna understand when you say it with anger? It's not gonna work. You think just by saying, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, I'm feeling pain, it's gonna help? So we learn how to manage these emotions and not be victims of them. Take responsibility. This is the way we start choosing. We have that power. Science already proves to us, and I'll tell you this, as a neuroscientist who have studied pain, there is an inner mechanism in your brain which happens right here from midbrain down. It's actually at the brainstem level. If you think about your head like this and the spinal cord, it's right here at this part of your brain, okay? This part of your brain, which is the more instinctive part. In that part, there is, from midbrain down, you have what we call the descending pathway, the descending analgesic pathway, which means whenever a painful stimulus comes in, inside of us, it's going to activate naturally this analgesic mechanism. Molecules are going to be released and you can manage your pain. So it is possible to manage pain by control of the mind. By the control of the mind, it is possible. We don't know that yet. We don't have training, but we need to start practicing. How do we practice it? When we feel pain, we talk to pain. Of course, we assess it depending on the pain and take care of it, but we talk to it. Because pain is subjective. Pain is considered a byproduct of our perception. Yes, it's amazing, Alexander. It's a beautiful mechanism. And then we can stimulate with our minds that analgesic mechanism. But we needed to practice it. Breathing. Now, what we call energy medicine. Several hospitals in the United States are already approaching pain from a different angle, with visualizations, with breathing techniques, with some form of therapy, so we can understand where it's coming from, because there are other emotional elements that can be correlated to it. Not necessarily they are physical. Sometimes there is no physical damage, but there is pain. How come? Only Spiritism would explain. Because in the Spirit's book, by Allan Kardec, there is an essay that Kardec wrote, according to the teachings of the spirits, saying that the perception of everything that happens is processed actually in the spiritual body, which is the perispirit. If you talk to neuroscientists nowadays, They dispute whether or not pain is ultimately controlled, modulated, they say, by the spinal cord, or it needs higher functions like in the cortex, the cortical areas. There is a split in the group of neuroscientists to studying it, to find what they call the silver bullet, how we're going to work on pain management straight to the core. The problem is that they don't know that the root of it all is not even in the body. It's in the spiritual body, because it depends on the mind. For us, Euripides Barsanulfo comes tonight talking about pain. And he gives a beautiful analogy to us, telling us the following. The difficulties of every hour are flowers that will perfume your redemptive path. So he is reminding us of the importance of valuing the difficulties, the struggles, not trying to push away. I know it doesn't feel comfortable, right? How do you feel? But in the next 24 hours, let us not take for granted the lessons that come from our difficulties. Next time we feel, how do we often feel when we are pushed by pain and struggles in life? We feel as if we're being punished, as if we're wrong. Not necessarily. Because often struggles and pain, they are byproduct of the new that we're embracing. It's hard. We haven't been there. It's new. So we're like, I don't know how to go through this pathway. I've never been here. So there are strange emotions popping up, right? The first step is what Lusabo is telling us, acceptance. And there is a book I would recommend for those who have never heard before. It's called Radical Acceptance. Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. Radical Acceptance. As a Buddhist psychologist in Washington, D.C., she talks about the beauty of doing exactly what Jesus recommended to us. Don't resist the evil that comes towards you. Meaning, exactly what Professor Euripides Barsanulfo is saying. The difficulties of every hour will perfume your redemptive pathway. So that's the exercise. In the next 24 hours, let us look at the things that we're finding uncomfortable and ask them, why are you uncomfortable? The situation. Why is this not pleasant? Why am I bothered by this situation? What actually bothers here? Because things are only gonna push inside of us if they resonate at some level. Some people are like this, they say, oh, and forgive me for using this word because it's strong. I hate. It's not good to use this word, but some people use it. I hate when people eat ice cream in front of me when I'm going through a diet. Just to make it a little lighter, right? I agree. I mean, I don't need to hate the person, but it's like, oh man, it's not helping, right? But why do we dislike? Because we are in a regimen not to do what they are doing. Because we've done it and it doesn't work for us any longer health-wise. No ice cream. That's exactly what happens to our moral life. We dislike what we used to do and like, and it doesn't serve us any better. But it's like mirror image of our past. we push it away. So, why is this bothering me? Why? Why? And then I ask, how can I make this comfortable? For example, I know it's silly, but let's go back to the ice cream. How am I going to make this comfortable? Instead of thinking, oh, I could be eating an ice cream, but I can't. This person is eating in front of me. Come on, the person's not helping. I say, you know, I'm going to enjoy through that person. I'm going to say, you know, that person is enjoying. There's no harm for the person. So I say, you know, good for the person that they can do it. I hope they enjoy it. So I may emit, and that's where the perfume of the flower comes through. That's where the perfume of the flower comes through. I will receive what I am emitting. If I learn to see the good in that struggle, I will be able to smell the perfume that is coming from that scenario. For example, go to the book 50 Years Later. You've read it by Emmanuel? Okay, we're back. So, the book 50 Years Later, Celia, she, every step of the way, has struggles. And she's a role model on how to see the good in everything, to find a pathway. And he gives us precisely the trick. He says, the only way to do it is to serve with the Christ always. Because it's the highest imposition of the incarnate life today. So he recommends that he says he's going to be by our side so we can fulfill our sacred duties. And he says the greatest suggestion is in the feeling of fraternity, and we may find in our spiritual renewal the greatest focus of our hearts. Let us renew ourselves every day. Every day. Let's not hold grudges. Let's not hold grudges. It's your choice and it's my choice every day to say, I enter the frequency of destructiveness. I feel uncomfortable, messy, terrible. And then I say, no, thank you. Breathe in and out and tune into the constructiveness through a prayer, through meditation, through a good shower, through a good conversation with somebody who is positive, through a good book, etc., through listening to a talk, through watching a good movie, through reading good news, anywhere. And then I tune into the constructive mental currents, and I say, you know, I prefer to stay here. But what you're going to do with that mess, it's not mine. It's people's mess, it's not mine. I'm not going to enter that. If they want to do this, say that, blah, 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 it's their problem. For example, in the book Living in Spring by Emmanuel, there is a message titled Bad-Mouthing Slander. And the mechanisms of slander is fascinating because he says slander is like poison that has consequences. It's very toxic. He said when we speak ill of others, we're actually giving too much importance to the negative, and we actually are pushing people deeper into the abyss that they are falling down. So we shouldn't go there. People have their choice. You have your choice. If you receive a phone call from somebody, from your family, for example, they say, you, blah, 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 and you're like, I haven't done anything. What happened? Breathe in and out and say, they are entitled to their emotion, but I am not going to enter in their frequency. I'm going to pray. As much as we hope that when we are out of tune, people don't enter our frequency and battle with us. It's choice. It's will. Our will. Second chapter of the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel. The most powerful driving force of the soul. Our will. You can choose. Choose to make lemonade of the lemons that you receive in life. Instead of saying, oh, lemon, say, lemonade. And squeeze it so it takes effort. Mix it up. Add some sweetness. What is it? The effort that we're going to make. And the sweetness of what? Of our heart. The hope. And we transform it all. So it's okay. We fall. We stand up again. Fall. Stand up again. Until we're going to be standing up. Tall. And we're not going to fall. That's the pure spirit level. Till then, we are up, down, but we quickly bounce back up and down, and then up again, but don't stay down. It's okay. Don't punish yourself. Let's not punish ourselves. Let's be kind. And that's why Professor Euripides Barsanulfo is asking us, may the common good continue to be the greatest suggestions of your sentiments of fraternity. Focus on helping others. How can I help? How can I help? How can I help? How can I help? How can I serve better? How can I love you more? How can I be the friend to you that I wanted you to be for me? Shall we? And that's why he says the flowers becoming the ultimate product of the struggles when they are embraced with acceptance and surrendering to God's will. If God is allowing the lemons to be given to us, it's because He knows we can make lemonade. Did you know you can make lemonade? There are many ways of making lemonade. Right, Liz? By the way, congratulations on the development of your children, especially the princess, your daughter. Beautiful triplets and a beautiful journey of their development. Congratulations, Liz. Our Spiritist family in Puerto Rico. And Rudy, right? We were talking about Edwin Bravo yesterday in Guatemala. We're grateful to you, Rudy. Yeah, grateful for the challenge facing. Yes, big hug to you. We're praying, cheering for you. Okay? So friends, what is the main exercise in the next 24 hours? Christ within to help us make lemonade out of lemons. Life is giving us lemons. God is saying, make a lemonade and sell it. All right? So I'm going to give you a big hug of gratitude. And tomorrow, when we come back, Euripides Barsanulfo is going to delight us with another message in which he's going to talk about the sacred love of the Master for us. As he said here, and I'm going to repeat, that's how we would like to wrap up, as he says here to us. Okay, it's right here. The main thing that he says, the service with the Christ is still the highest invitation of the incarnate spirits today. The service with the Christ. You are not on the earth by yourself, for yourself. You're here because God wanted you to be here, and Christ is tutoring you. Look at the tutor, the guiding model, and let him guide your way. That's our main pathway, and the only pathway in this life. The Christ consciousness. Shall we? And let us pray Let us pray. Yes, let us pray. Let us pray for them, Liz. Okay, the three are sick. We're going to wrap up with a prayer. Shall we, friends? Praying for the friends here, and especially for our triplets with Senora Liz. Shall we? So let us close our eyes and visualize a beautiful heart of love. Much light radiating from it, enveloping Liz's children in the hospital. Oh dear God, thank you for giving to us the Spiritist teachings and the beauty of renewing our hopes. We kindly ask you to multiply our wishes of health to Liz's children and to everyone here connected with us in each and every state, country, continent. May this current of loving light feel as healing molecules multiplied by your immense love, renewing their health, boosting their strength, so they can keep on fulfilling your will on the earth as it already is in heaven. Truly grateful, we kindly ask you for your permission to wrap up this moment of harmony with you and your messenger, Euripides Barsanulfo, and so be it. Big hug to you, and until tomorrow, God willing, friends.